William 236, hold traffic, shots fired. 8500 East 41st Street, extended stay. Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Shots fired.
Hands, let me see your hands right now. Hold on. Hey, partner, don't move. Don't move. He's still got the gun in his hand. Don't move. Hickey, back off, back off. Hey, don't move.
Command, this is Alpha 6. We're breaching now. Thermal shows multiple hostiles inside. Wait, something's wrong. These aren't just dealers. I'm seeing tactical gear. Military-grade equipment. Command, are we sure about these coordinates? Alpha 6, execute the breach. Now! Contact! We've got shooters on the second floor. Phoenix, Arizona, March 18, 2025. For 37 hours. ICE Task Force Operation Blackout. What began as a standard cartel raid became the investigation that nearly toppled American law enforcement from within. 67 federal raids. 7 states. 127 arrests. But the real story? It wasn't about what they found in the warehouses. It was about who they found wearing badges. $2.7 billion. That's not just money. That's the price tag for buying silence, for purchasing loyalty, for corrupting the very institutions designed to protect American citizens from the cartels. 34 federal employees didn't just look the other way. They actively participated. They leaked intelligence. They sabotaged operations. They handed witness locations to executioners. What you're about to see is the classified breakdown of Operation Blackout, the joint FBIC investigation that exposed a corruption network so deep, so sophisticated, that it operated for 3 full years before anyone even suspected it existed. Welcome to our channel. We bring you the investigations that never make primetime, the operations that get buried in classified files, the truth that's too uncomfortable for mainstream coverage. If you're serious about understanding what's really happening in federal law enforcement, you need to subscribe right now. We're not here for entertainment. We're here for truth. Hit that button. Turn on notifications. Because what comes next will fundamentally change how you see the people who claim to protect you. Let's begin. March 18th. Pre-dawn. Phoenix sits quiet under a desert sky while I see Special Agent Marcus Chen briefs his tactical team in a warehouse parking lot 3 miles from their target. The operation seemed routine. Diego Ruiz, a known associate of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, had been moving chemical precursors for fentanyl production through a distribution network spanning Arizona and New Mexico. 6 weeks of surveillance, wiretaps, financial tracking, standard investigative protocol. The objective was simple: breach the warehouse, secure the drugs, arrest Ruiz, and add another conviction to the growing list of cartel takedowns. At exactly 4:37 a.m., Chen's team moved. Door charges detonated. Flashbangs lit up the interior. Within 90 seconds, Ruiz was face down on concrete, hands zip-tied behind his back. The warehouse contained exactly what intelligence predicted: $4.3 million in bundled cash stacked inside shipping containers. 190 kilograms of pure fentanyl separated into distribution packages. Enough poison to devastate entire cities. But in the back office, secured inside a reinforced safe that required cutting torches to open, agents discovered something that made Chen's blood run cold. A Samsung tablet. Screen unlocked. Battery at 72%. And most disturbing, the timestamp on the last message sent was 4 minutes before the breach. Someone had been using this device moments before federal agents crashed through the door. Chen made a decision that probably saved the entire investigation. He didn't examine the tablet, didn't scroll through messages, didn't try to access files. He secured it in an evidence bag, contacted his direct supervisor through encrypted channels, and within 2 hours, that tablet was on a Bureau helicopter heading to Quantico. What FBI's cyber forensics pulled from that device over the next 72 hours would trigger the largest internal investigation in federal law enforcement history. Think about this for a second. If you were that agent standing in that warehouse and you realized the device in your hands might implicate your own colleagues, what would you do? Would you have the courage to follow through? Drop your answer in the comments. The tablet's encrypted messaging app contained 3 years of continuous communication, not with Mexican cartel leaders, not with street-level distributors, but with American federal badge numbers. 34 employees across ICE, DEA, and Border Patrol had been in regular contact with Bribes' network. The messages detailed operational intelligence that should have been classified. Raid schedules shared 48 hours before execution. Witness names and protective custody locations. GPS coordinates of surveillance positions along the southern border. Payment records showed $247 million in cryptocurrency transactions moving through wallet addresses linked to federal employees. The money trail stretched from Panama to Singapore to Dubai, a financial network specifically designed to hide government corruption. These weren't contractors. These weren't administrative staff with limited access. These were field agents, intelligence analysts, communications specialists, people who'd passed extensive background checks, people with top-secret clearances, people entrusted with protecting American lives. The FBI faced an impossible choice. Go public immediately and watch every suspect flee or destroy evidence, or conduct a shadow investigation without alerting anyone, including most federal employees, that an internal corruption purge was already underway. They chose the second option, and they recruited a ghost team of 200 agents from offices outside Arizona who had zero connection to anyone in the tablet's contact list. The strategy required absolute deception. Every corrupted employee had to continue their daily routine. Clock in, file reports, attend meetings, act like nothing had changed. Meanwhile, federal investigators built parallel cases using methods that seemed almost ancient in the digital age. Physical surveillance teams tracked suspects through residential neighborhoods. Financial analysts subpoenaed bank records through sealed warrants that defense attorneys couldn't access. Technical operations pulled trash from curbside bins looking for discarded evidence. Trust became impossible. Interagency emails weren't secure. Phone calls could be monitored by compromised communications officers. Even classified databases might be accessed by the very people under investigation. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A mid-level communications officer I'll call Source Falcon. He wasn't high-ranking. He didn't have operational authority, but he had access to routing systems that coordinated raids across multiple agencies. When FBI agents confronted him with financial records showing unexplained deposits totaling $400,000 over 18 months, Source Falcon collapsed. For hours of interrogation, and he provided everything. His testimony revealed the true scope of the operation. This wasn't random corruption. The cartel had systematically mapped federal law enforcement infrastructure and inserted operatives at strategic access points. For every legitimate DEA operation, there was a shadow counter-operation designed to neutralize it. Planned raids? Suspects received advance warning and relocated product before agents arrived. Protected witnesses? Their addresses were leaked to cartel enforcers within hours of placement. Border interdiction points? Corrupted agents ensured specific trucks received way-throughs, while legitimate cargo got flagged for inspection. The financial structure was perhaps most disturbing. $247 million distributed over 36 months. Direct deposits made through shell companies registered in offshore jurisdictions. Tax withholding documents. Quarterly payment schedules. W-2 forms. The cartel had literally created a parallel payroll system that treated corrupted federal employees like legitimate corporate staff. These weren't criminals receiving duffel bags of cash. They were W-2 employees of a criminal enterprise sophisticated enough to mirror government bureaucracy. Here's what should terrify you. This level of organization doesn't happen by accident. Someone with intimate knowledge of federal systems designed this infrastructure. Someone understood exactly how to exploit bureaucratic blind spots. Someone knew which positions provided maximum leverage with minimum oversight. If this is shocking you right now, type exposed in the comments. And if you know someone who still thinks cartels are just about moving drugs across borders, send them this video. They need to understand what we're actually fighting. April 22nd, 0400 hours Eastern Time. Operation Blackout went active. 67 target locations. 7 states. From Seattle to Miami, from federal buildings to suburban homes, where corrupted agents lived with families who had no idea their spouses were living double lives. The operational parameters were uncompromising. Simultaneous execution across all sites. Zero warning. Zero opportunity for suspects to communicate, destroy evidence, or flee. At precisely 4:17 a.m. Pacific, coordinated teams moved. Phoenix IC headquarters. 3 agents arriving for morning shift found themselves surrounded by FBI tactical units the moment they badged into the building. Weapons confiscated, credentials revoked, walked out in restraints past stunned colleagues. San Diego residential. FBI breached a DEA analyst's home to find him in his garage frantically destroying hard drives with a hammer. He never knew federal warrants had already secured cloud backup 6 hours earlier through sealed court orders. Houston Federal Building. A Department of Justice paralegal was arrested in the parking structure. Her vehicle contained $180,000 in cash and 2 encrypted phones actively pinging towers in Tijuana, Las Vegas, Portland, Atlanta, Miami. The raids cascaded across time zones like synchronized dominoes falling. By 9 a.m. Eastern, 127 individuals were in federal custody. 34 federal employees, 41 state and local officers, 52 cartel operatives and financial facilitators. Then came the damage assessment. FBI forensic accountants spent 11 weeks reconstructing what the corruption network had accomplished. The results were catastrophic. 14 major federal investigations compromised. 89 cartel members who should be in prison remained free because evidence had been contaminated or destroyed. 7 protected witnesses murdered after corrupted agents leaked their locations. $1.8 billion in drug shipments that passed through border checkpoints because insiders waved them through. 2,300 kilograms of fentanyl, enough lethal doses to kill every resident of California, entered communities because the people paid to stop it were the ones helping it flow. This wasn't an operational failure. This was systematic betrayal at scale. September brought trials. Federal prosecutors filed charges under narco-terrorism statutes carrying mandatory life sentences without parole possibility. The evidence presented was overwhelming. Encrypted message transcripts, cryptocurrency wallet tracking, surveillance footage, witness testimony from cooperating suspects, and perhaps most damning, intercepted phone calls where corrupted agents discussed operations with cartel coordinators as casually as planning weekend barbecues. One recording played in court captured an agent saying, 3 trucks Thursday through Nogales. I'll make sure Jenkins takes that gate. He's solid. Solid. That single word summarized everything. To these people, betraying their oath meant being reliable, dependable, solid. By December, verdicts arrived like hammer strikes. Life sentences, complete asset forfeiture, every home, vehicle, investment, and bank account seized under federal statutes. But convictions weren't enough. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security implemented the Federal Integrity Protocol, mandatory polygraph examinations, comprehensive financial audits, psychological evaluations for anyone with sensitive access. Critics called it excessive. Defenders called it necessary. Everyone agreed this could never happen again. So here's my question for you, and I want genuine answers. Do you believe this was isolated? Or do you think other networks are operating right now, still undetected, still corrupting the institutions we trust? Leave your thoughts below. No judgment. I genuinely want to know what you think. Here's what haunts me about this entire investigation. The enemy wasn't foreign, wasn't external, wasn't some distant threat we could identify and defend against. It was internal. It was Americans who took oaths, who wore badges, who were trusted with protecting their fellow citizens, and who sold the trust for money. That's the real danger. Not what crosses our borders, but what grows inside our institutions when corruption finds fertile ground and good people choose silence over action. If this investigation disturbed you, you need to stay connected with this channel. Subscribe right now. Enable notifications. Because we're bringing you more classified cases, more unsealed documents, more investigations that mainstream outlets won't touch because they're too complex or too uncomfortable. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment telling me which part of this investigation hit you hardest. And share this video with someone who needs to understand what's really happening behind the headlines. We've got more stories coming. More cases that need exposure. More truth that deserves to be heard. The fight for accountability doesn't end with one video. It continues with every investigation we expose, every case we bring to light, every moment we refuse to look away from uncomfortable truth. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring enough to get to the end. I'll see you in the next investigation.